Welcome to Sports Saved My Life. My name is Clayton Freck, and I'm the CEO and founder of Angel City Sports. We know the power of sport to change and in some cases save lives. We hear these compelling stories every day, and we created this show to share them with the world. Enjoy the show, and remember to like, follow, share, and comment. All right, so welcome to Sports Saved My Life. Today I am thrilled to interview 28-year-old Paralympian Isaac Jean-Paul. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All
You said it well, too.
All right, beautiful. Isaac grew up in Evanston, Illinois, has a visual impairment called juvenile retinosis.
Retinoschisis.
Ah, that's a tough one. He mostly played basketball against sighted athletes growing up. He came to track a little later in life than most. After not making his college basketball team at Lewis University. Amazingly, he was a 5-time All-American for Lewis University in high jump from 2014 to 2016, including a national championship at the 2015 NCAA D2 indoors. Graduated in 2016 with a degree in Soc. And from a sports accomplishment, it's been a pretty amazing journey over the last few years. 2017, gold medalist at the World Championships in high jump and a bronze medalist in long jump. Fast forward to 2019, World Championships again. Isaac wins a silver in high jump. And then in the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, he brings home a bronze in the long jump. He's one of the nicest athletes I know. He has a huge heart and is always there in the stands, supporting and encouraging his fellow athletes. And, you know, what I love about Isaac is that he brings a lot of flair and style to the track. He's got his signature tie-dye cutoff shirt, you know, showing his midriff, gets the crowd going with his claps, and just all around amazing guy, great mentor to my son, Ezra. Isaac, welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thank you so much. That was probably the best introduction I've ever had. So I appreciate that. That's dope. That's dope.
I try, man. I try to hype it up. Even though I got your diagnosis wrong, but that was a hard word. I thought I had it, and I was like, oh, once I looked at it, I'm like, I don't have this.
Man, try saying that 5 times when you're like 3 years old and you're trying to tell people, I have juvenile retinosis.
It's like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. Easy question for you, I know, because it's in your heart. But, you know, what comes to mind when you hear the title of our show, Sports Saved My Life?
Man, a lot of things, man. For myself, sports is more than just going out and doing a physical activity. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's a way of living. You know what I'm saying? If applied the right way, if you apply what athletics is and what it means to you, it's really conducive to how you can live your life and the struggles you may face in life as well. So yeah, when I think of your title, I just think of life, because that's, you know, what it's all about.
Yeah. Where do you think you would be without sport?
That is a great question, because it was interesting. You had mentioned in the introduction about my basketball career, and in the midst of not making my high school basketball team, it wasn't college.
It was high school.
It was high school. Yeah.
Got it.
So up until that point, my entire life was basketball. I wanted to be an NBA player, you know, all that stuff, you know, dunk on LeBron James, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was getting cut, and I didn't know why. And I was just like, man, if I can't make my high school team, how the heck am I going to make it to the NBA? So at that point, I thought, you know, what am I going to do without sports? You know what I'm saying?
So you already faced that question back in high school.
Exactly. Back in high school. And I had no clue. And it was by the grace of God that one day I decided to skip class, and me and my friends were at one of my friends' house, and we were just chilling watching sports science. And Devin Hester was on the TV, and just out of pure competitiveness, I said, I'm faster than Devin Hester. You know what I'm saying? And I still think that. So Devin Hester, if you're watching, I'm faster than you, dog. And so I'm like, I can beat Devin Hester. And my friends looked at me and was like, you're not fast. You can jump high. We see you dunk all the time, but you're not fast. Devin Hester is like world class. I was like, you know what? Get in your car. And so I rediscovered sports through a bet. And I was just like, I didn't know what I was going to do without sports. And as I grew older, I start to realize my purpose within sports and outside of sports. So now I have a better understanding. When sports is over for me, I want to be an advocate for everyone in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Dang,
but sports helped me find what I want to do.
That's a great story. I want to dig more into that one. Give me one sentence that describes who you are.
Truth. I am the truth, man. Like, my heart is just for other people, and I want the best for everyone. And it's not, I live through this mantra, and my mantra is guide for the next generation, run for the next generation, jump for the next generation, and live for the next generation. Because like at the end of the day, we have to continue this cycle of like whatever we give to the world. And I feel like the truth is what I'm trying to give. And that's what we have to give to the next generation and all of that.
Man, you stole one of my questions already, which is what's your life philosophy? You already dropped your life philosophy. That's like at the end of the show. Oh my gosh. All right. This is going better than I even imagined, Isaac. So all right, so let's start, day one. You're born in Illinois, like what's going on with your family structure, siblings, parents, what's life like in those early days? And when do your parents get the diagnosis that you have a visual impairment?
Right. Okay. Wow. It's taking it way back. So I think I was probably 1.5 when I was walking and running around. I was stealing candy canes off of like Christmas trees and whatnot. And I would run into coffee tables and walls, and they would be like right in front of me. And my parents would look at me and be like, why is he running into this? And so that prompted my parents to take me to the eye doctors to get me checked out. So from there, at the age of 2, around my 2nd birthday, I was diagnosed with juvenile retinoschisis. The greatest advice my doctors gave my parents were to allow me to navigate the world through my disability. Don't like try to helicopter parent him. Don't try to, protect him from everything. Let him navigate. My dad is probably the most protective of me. He still babies me till this day, and always constantly telling me, because he's Haitian. I have a Haitian background. My father's from Haiti. So Sapase to all my Haitians out there. And he just worries, you know what I'm saying? Because him coming from a country where didn't have a lot of opportunities, and coming to the States, he had an idea of this image of how, his children should be. I think I'm the first person in his life that he's met with a disability. And so with that being said, it was hard for him, and still is, to kind of accept the fact that I do have a disability. So my dad is the protective one. My mom, protective, she loves her baby, but she allows me to, be myself and explore things. So through this time, like growing up, my parents, even though they were like protective, they allow me to experiment with different things, allow me to be a kid with a disability, and not overly protecting me from the world. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so you gave me a lot in that last statement about the differences between your mom and your dad. And it's actually kind of funny because I feel like your parental roles are flipped.
Yeah.
In some ways, right? You often see the moms are the ones, chasing after kids and not letting them fall and picking them up and over mothering them to some extent. And sometimes the dads, kind of let the kids do their thing. So you kind of had the reverse. Yeah. And you think so your dad was Haitian. Is your mom Haitian or no?
No, my mom is American.
So do you think that your dad's overprotected? Where does that come from for him, do you think?
I just think just not really. And I mean, it's kind of like he's not overprotective with my sister. You know what I'm saying? It's
just you.
Really me. Yeah. And I'm the baby of the family. I'm the youngest of 6. So he's very protective over me, probably because I'm the youngest. And also I can't see things that other people could see.
Yeah.
So like I'm at a disadvantage. He feels as if, you know what I'm saying? So it's just, and it's alarming. You know what I'm saying? It's scary. And I guess he grew up in a way, where he had to protect himself, and he's been through certain things growing up that he probably feels as if that I will face those same challenges. And if I do face those same challenges, like how am I going to overcome them when I can't really see as much as he can? So I kind of understand his worries, but it's just like, yeah, trust me.
So tell me, I want to hear more about that. So did he grow up in Haiti then?
Yeah. So he grew up, he moved to America around 15.
Okay.
15. Yeah.
And did he grow up near violence, or what do you think kind of formed that perspective for him? So
that perspective comes from a lot of different things. Growing up in Haiti, he grew up in the countryside. What I'm saying? He didn't grow up in the city, Port-au-Prince. He grew up in the village. And I'm not too familiar with his time in Haiti. He still goes back to this day. So he loves his country. But I can only speak on like his experience in America. And when my dad was born in 1955, and when he moved to America, he came here probably in the early 70s. So him being an immigrant, not documented, also being Black, at that time and still to this day, he faced certain things where he knew that if he brought a son into this world, that he would face the same thing. Sure. So knowing these things that are out there, and how tough they are already, my son with a disability is going to even have a tougher time facing these things. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So how did he get to the US? What was his journey like?
So my uncle, actually, is an interesting story. My great uncle, which is his uncle, moved to the US, and he moved to Evanston. We have a street name after, like, we have John Paul Boulevard or
no
John
way.
Paul Street. Yeah. Pierre John Paul, my great uncle, he passed away, God rest his soul, but he was the pioneer for a lot of Haitians to come to Evanston. So he did a lot for the Haitian movement around that time, and that was my dad's, path to America.
Got it. So he had an easier trip to get to the US than maybe other Haitians.
I wouldn't say easy, but he got here.
Did he have to take a boat, or did he fly and got a visa and did the?
I'm not too sure. I know when he got his citizenship when I was 9 years old. So he had been undocumented that whole time, up until I was like 9. I was actually there with him getting his visa and green card and everything. So that was quite the experience.
You're so young at 9. Did you understand the gravity of that moment?
Hell no. I know we were studying the Constitution at the same time, and I was wondering, like, what is my dad doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he studying as hard as me? And I was just like, now looking back, I'm like, wow. And it's kind of crazy, because I'm not like, I grew up more on like my mom and dad still married till this day, been like 40 plus years. But when my dad first got here, there was some sense of shame about his country that he had. I don't know what it was, but he never really brought us around his side of the family a lot. I don't know why. And so with that being said, I stayed on my mom's side a lot. And that was like the Americanized part, you know what I'm saying? And I would get teased for being Haitian, you know what I'm saying? Back in the day, like it was bad being from a different country or having, you know, awareness of what other parts you're about. So growing up, I didn't even want to be associated with Haiti.
But are you getting teased by like your mom's side of the family that's Black as well? They're just not Black Haitian.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like they would tease me. I was the youngest. So I was getting the punishment from everyone. Like had the big head. I was funny looking, skinny. And then on top of that, I was Haitian. Just throw that on top of there. So it was easy to make fun of me. And so
but you really weren't very Haitian. You were born here. Like what?
Exactly. But it was, I don't know what it was. It was just like, people were just teasing me. I didn't get it. I was young and I was just like, all right, I don't like it. I guess being Haitian is a bad thing. I don't want to be associated with it. Now growing up, learning more about my roots and where I come from gives me a better understanding for who I am. And now I have a more of appreciation for my Haitian side than my American side, because now I see the world differently because I have a sense of like my history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I carry my Haitian flag everywhere I go. Man, it's powerful when you really find where you're from. James Baldwin once said, know from whence you came. If you know from whence you came, there's absolutely no limitations to where you can go. And I believe that wholeheartedly because I know where my power comes from now. So yeah. Sorry, I know that was long-winded. I talk a lot, dog.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So before we keep marching through your childhood, I just want to ask one more question about your dad. Because I think, you know, when you look at where, you know, society is right now in the United States, grappling with racism and Me Too and all this stuff, you know, your dad arriving, right, as a young Black man from Haiti, you know, in the 70s, does he ever tell you stories of just dealing with racism himself at that young age in those teen years or his young adult years? And, you know, like what was his sort of experience coming to America in the early 70s?
Man, so his experience, man, it's the typical, I mean, I'm gonna be as candid and I'm transparent. So I love
you gotta be truth, man. You can't hide it now.
Exactly. See? Yeah. So my dad coming to the States, it was tough. You know what I'm saying? Like it was already tough being Black at that time, living in the States. So imagine being an immigrant. So he had to do what he had to do. My dad is probably the strongest man I've ever met. Like fortitude. You know what I'm saying? Like everything about him, fortitude. My dad's seen a lot growing up. He's seen, you know, killings. He sold drugs. He had to do what he had to do to really support his family. And mind you, I had four prior to me and my biological, like my closest sister, who was 4 years apart. He had four other children. You know what I'm saying? So he had to work. He had to support his family, and he did what he had to do. And then when he had us, like everything slowed down. When he met my mom, everything slowed down. It was just like, this was the woman he needed to be with his entire life. And so with that being said, growing up in Haiti, I'm not too fond of those stories back then. I just know his story coming to the States and what he had to do to pretty much survive. Yeah. And he was a smooth guy. I mean, he still is a smooth guy. You know what I'm saying? Very sharp, dapper dude. And I think both of us, I watched his transformation as a man. You know what I'm saying? Just watching him and seeing who he is today, it's a proud moment because my dad in 2010 was in the big earthquake that happened in Haiti. So that was like my senior year of high school. And it was my last semester, and I didn't even hear from my dad because he was in the midst of the earthquake. So when he came back and he told me like stories of what he saw dead children. He had to bury people, unbury people. You know what I'm saying? He had to take people out of like broken down homes. And then this past time when the president of Haiti was killed, he was out there again. I was like, Dad,
What?
He always goes out there at the most ridiculous moments. And I'm just like, you must have the luck of the Irish or something, because this is crazy.
Oh my
So
gosh.
he was out there when the president was assassinated. And he was telling me stories of his travel going to the airport, because from the village, you have to go through, different parts of the area to get to the city, which is where the airport is. And through there, it was just like hell, like dead bodies on the ground. Just like you had to like duck underneath the seats, getting to the airport, because you just had to watch out of bullets flying from wherever, because it was just a riot going on in the country due to the assassination of the president. So my dad, fortitude, man. And he's thinking about going back this summer. I'm like, nah, you gotta chill, man. You gotta chill.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Thank you for sharing that. So why was your mom so chill? Like, what was her, how did she take the news originally? And then like, how did she kind of come up with that way to raise you?
Man, if you thought my dad was strong, my mom is probably the strongest human being I've ever encountered. And my whole family, my mom's side of the family, we're just chill people, understanding people. Like she just understood what she was dealt with. Her first child, my first sister, before me and my oldest sister, she had a miscarriage. You know what I'm saying? So like going through that, like seeing your child, at one point, and then knowing that you're about to have a baby girl, and then, that right there, going through that, that's devastating. Yeah. But you still have the courage to continue to try to have more children. So like, imagine the mental fortitude and strength to deal with knowing that you lost a child and you're still trying to have more. So that right there just tells you a lot about my mom in a nutshell. But when she found out that I had a disability, she just took what the doctor said and was just like, you know what? Let's do it. And she rolled with it. And I'm pretty sure my mom was scared at first, because I'm her baby boy. I'm her baby, so she don't want nothing to happen to me. But there's a level of trust you have to have, and you have to trust that you did a good job, and your child is going to be okay because you raised them right.
I'd like to take a quick break to show you how you can get involved as a volunteer with Angel City Sports.
Are you interested in supporting Angel City Sports? We're seeking volunteers to help organize clinics and events, as well as support our athlete outreach efforts, marketing and media, and even fundraising and development. All skill sets and backgrounds are welcome in support of our mission to provide free adaptive sport opportunities for children, adults, and veterans with physical disabilities or visual impairments. For our younger athletes, we welcome you to join the Angel City Youth Leadership Council. Middle and high school age students are eligible to join the Youth Leadership Council, where you will learn about the disabled community by working side by side with our athletes and acquire important skills such as teamwork, leadership, philanthropy, and event management. To sign up for our volunteer newsletter and stay up to date on all upcoming opportunities, visit angelcitysports.org.
All right. So you're diagnosed early, which I think is a blessing, right? At least they had some understanding of what you're dealing with. Describe how the disability affects you. What are you able to see? Because I've rolled around with you a lot, and like it's sort of sometimes I forget that you're visually impaired at all. But like, what are you able to see?
Yeah. So it's great that you asked that, because I'm still learning my vision. Mind you, I don't want to say, so it's like a double-edged sword. With the advice that the doctors gave my parents, they made it so normal that I was like everybody else, where I didn't acknowledge I had a disability for a long time. It wasn't until 2017, literally 4 years ago, that I really acknowledged I had a disability. So up until that point, I thought I was like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? And because I did everything.
So the diagnosis wasn't something that you told people about. Did you not did you not even really know it? You just thought
it was like I knew I was like, okay, I have juvenile retinoschisis, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I would have to go see like eye doctors regularly, like more, but that was so normal to me because I was doing it ever since I could remember. So I just thought everybody was doing it, even though I saw like my eye doctor's appointment consists of like old people sitting next to me, and I'm like the youngest one there. So like I had the acuity of like, I guess now looking back, of older people's vision. You know what I'm saying? So at that time, it just didn't, because I was so good at sports at a young age, and I played sports and I didn't see anybody else like me. I just thought I was like everybody else, just had different ways of doing things when it came to like schooling or only school. You know what I'm saying? Everything else was the same thing as, you know, how you would do things, if that makes sense.
Because you're a good athlete, able to mainstream in sport, playing against able-bodied kids. So you're not in any special programs for the visually impaired. You're just doing your thing.
Yeah.
And so what are you able to see? Like, is it peripheral? Is it light? Like what's the actual?
So now, my vision is like, my left eye is my strongest eye, but it's tunnel vision. I have no peripheral in my left eye.
Okay.
It's the strongest during the daytime and light. Like my left eye needs the best lighting to be efficient. My right eye is my weakest eye, but it has the most peripheral. Now, when it gets dark, the strengths change. My left eye becomes blind in the dark, and my right eye becomes the strongest, and I see everything through my right eye. Yeah. When it comes to how far I can see, I have no idea of what my depth perception is. I know it's not too good because sometimes I miss things, but for some reason I can catch. I used to be able to catch a lot of like basketballs or footballs of some kind or whatever, but I can't see small print. I can't see too far away. And it's just weird because I manage, you know what I'm saying?
And in school coming up, like what were the accommodations that you needed?
So I went to a public school. At first, accommodations was pretty tough, and my mom had to really put her foot on the gas to really have these people understand what they were dealing with and everything. A lot of times they would think that I would be acting out, and it was a behavioral thing or a attention thing, but in reality, I just couldn't see things. The accommodations, once they figured out that, okay, he has an IEP and we have to follow these certain things,
right?
Accommodations that I received were like enlarged textbooks. I was able to go on mobility courses during classes when I were like in middle school, at the time where we start wanting to venture off and do our own thing. So I took mobility courses. I had binoculars so I can see the chalkboard.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool at first because you get all these tools. I had this big thing called a CCTV, and it's like there's this big computer monitor and a tray underneath, and you put your homework underneath it, and it magnifies your homework. And it was like everybody in the school wanted to mess with my CCTV, and I'm like, all right, this is weird. It was cool at first, but once kids started to like give me the wrong attention, I was just like, I don't even want this stuff. I just want to be like y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So coming up, your sport is basketball.
Yeah.
Right. And did the disability ever affect your ability to perform on the court?
Nah, not at all. Like that was in athletics in general was the only place where I felt normal. You know what I'm saying? Where my disability didn't matter. I mean, there was this one time in high school, freshman year, it was probably like 5 seconds left in the game. It was our ball side out, and I was the point guard. And I forgot my sports goggles. I couldn't find them anywhere. And at that time, I hated wearing my sports goggles because they weren't cool. I wanted to look cool for the ladies.
So that gave you a little extra vision. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
My sports goggles prescription. And I hate wearing them because, the ladies didn't like me. So I was just like, F these goggles. And the ball, it's 5 seconds left. The ball is ball out. The ball passes to me, goes straight off my forehead. Boom. And I'm looking, where'd the ball go? Where'd the ball go? You know what I'm saying? And it's already on the other side of the court. The other team scores, they win the game. Oh, and I'm just like, only if I had my goggles. So that was the only time my vision played a role in my sports, my athletic career. Other than that, that's where I felt like I got this.
And before we get to the switch to track, did being such a good athlete through, whatever, grade school, junior high, did that give you a swagger and a confidence at school and on the playground and in the community? Or did you struggle with any self-confidence issues in those early years?
Man, it gave me the world of confidence, as far as sports. Didn't really transition into school because that was the one place where I felt like I didn't fit in. And, but like I was a really shy kid, you know what I'm saying? Like it took me a while to open up to people. And once I opened up, it was just like, oh, he's the most confident person I know. But at first, pretty shy, pretty timid. And then once I warm up to you, I'm good. And when it came to athletics, I always had the confidence.
That's interesting that it didn't translate to school and, or to the school work, right? That side of it. At some point, does school get better for you?
Yes. So the part where school, it was senior year, and that's when I first started track. I didn't know how good I was until one day my coach brought me into the office and he had a list of schools. And it was a range of Big Ten schools, D3 schools, a variety of schools. And I'm like, what's this? The schools I saw was the same schools I would want to go to for basketball. You know what I'm saying? I was a big Ohio State fan. I wanted to go there so bad. You know what I'm saying? And so he says, these are the schools that's interested you in track. I was like, track? What? He was like, but you know what? You won't be able to go to these schools because your grade point average is too low and your ACT scores was too low. I barely showed up to class my senior year. That's how, I would say, uncomfortable I was in school. You know what I'm saying?
You weren't out hanging, doing bad things in the neighborhood. You were just, you were avoiding school because it made you uncomfortable.
Exactly. Bro, it's funny because you would consider me the class clown. You know what I'm saying? The deans love me. You go back to my high school, they'll probably say how funny I was, or how annoying I was. You cannot say, oh, he was a menace. You know what I'm saying? So that was my reputation in a nutshell. But it was just so uncomfortable going to class because it was just I had this anxiety that I didn't even know about until I got much older, what this was all about. Yeah. So when I got into college, I was able to access more resources. Things were more individualized. The responsibility was on me, not my teachers, to make sure I was accommodated. There was resources like the Department of Disability of Students or something, DAS. I forgot the acronym. And they helped me out tremendously with giving me extra time on my exams. So shout out to Harper College. One of the best colleges I went to was the junior college I went to, started off at. And from there, I excelled in school. by the influence of my coach, Renee Zellner. She was heavily on me with just helping me out on my papers, just really being my mom away from home, helping me understand my disability within the sport of how I was able to do the things I did. And then, of course, I had great mentors when I went to Harper as well that helped me in my education and really paving the way of what direction I wanted to go as far as getting my degrees.
Are you saying Harbor? Is that the one in LA?
Harper, H-A-R.
Harper.
Yes, sir. Harper College.
And is that in Illinois or where was that?
That's in Illinois. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's really interesting that the school is this sort of grind for you. It's this sort of struggle until college. And you got the support there. So let's backtrack a little bit about that transition from basketball to track. So at some point you don't make the basketball team.
Yes.
Is that 10th grade, 11th grade? When is that?
So it was so I made it my freshman year, and then I didn't make a team after that. It was kind of crazy because that summer going into my sophomore year, I did summer camp with the high school team, and I made every summer camp team and played well. And when I got cut my sophomore year, I was kind of confused. Like, oh, shoot, like how I get cut. I wasn't even in the honorable mentions. They put me with the scrubs. I was like, I'm looking around like, dang, I'm really like out here. And but I took it as, okay, I got to get better. So every time I got cut, I always asked the coach, like, yo, what can I work on to get better? So that was my mentality, grind. And unfortunately,
and what did they say? Like, did the coaches even understand that you had a visual impairment or no?
They definitely did. And that was part of the reason why I didn't make the teams. So right when I transitioned into track, in that same conversation of when my coach gave me the list of schools, he told me the reason why you didn't make the basketball teams is because you had this disability. You were a liability to the school. And I was just like, dang. So at that point, it was bittersweet. You know what I'm saying?
They admitted, hold on a second. This really sucks. So they admit that you didn't get cut because of your athletic ability or lack thereof. You got cut because you were a legal liability.
Yeah. And part of, I don't want to put all the blame on them, because part of the reason was I didn't like wearing my sports goggles. It was unbeknownst to me that was the reason why I was getting cut, because I wouldn't wear it. If they were to tell me, wear your goggles, I would have wore them. But, after having conversations with my mom, because she knew too, and it was just like, all right, I didn't know all of this was going on. But at the end of the day, it was just like, if I wasn't getting cut, I would have never found track.
100%. That's exactly where my brain was going. It was like, what would you have become if you pplayed high school basketball all the way through?
Right.
At some point, maybe you don't make a team, and now I don't know. Do you find track? So,
right.
All right. So you don't make the team in 10th grade. You work at it. You try again for the 11th grade, and you just don't make that team.
Didn't make that team either. And I almost dunked on somebody that tryout too. And the coaches looked at me and they were like all in shock. And I was just like, I missed the dunk though.
But okay. And then do you keep grinding and then you try out for 12th grade team?
Yes. I did try out for the 12th grade team. I think I went to the first tryout, and then I was just like, at that point, I was just like, I already seen what the cards were. It was apparent of who already was on the team and who they were going to put on the team, and I was not included. So after probably the first or second day of tryouts, I just stopped, and I didn't know what I was going to do after that.
Okay, you're breaking my heart right now. How heartbroken were you at that moment to make that?
I couldn't even put it in words, because if you were there to realize how hard I worked to just play basketball. There wasn't a time I wasn't in the gym. I don't know what you had to do to get me out the gym. I was doing everything. I was a gym rat. Man, those days of just playing basketball every day is just, man, I was cold. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just thinking about it right now, and I can't find the words because you got me in nostalgia right now. So excuse me as I.
It's all good. No,
but yeah, man,
it's like when you. I feel like I got to see this firsthand going to Tokyo, but like when you feel destined to achieve a dream, a goal, and then it literally just goes away and you don't get it.
Yeah, it's like,
and you're young. You're young.
Yeah. It's like, bro, it's hard to even explain because you don't understand what's happening when you're that young.
Yeah,
you just think you're not good.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not you. It's never sometimes it's the system around you that fails you, that doesn't support you. But at the end of the day, you have to keep going. And that's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew I couldn't play basketball for anymore. My odds of going to the NBA was slim, but I had to find something else. And that was even when I was younger, my phrase when I was a kid, and I think there's an article out when I was in high school, keep on keeping on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no stopping and just feeling sad for yourself. You know, if I was to do that, then I wouldn't be talking to you today. Even
after you got cut from the third high school team, there wasn't a part of you that was like, I'm done. Was there a part of you that was ready to quit sport?
No. I just didn't know I knew there was an alternative route other than high school basketball. I did AAU basketball traveling. So I was like, all right, high school season is this much. My senior year for AAU basketball, I'm going to do my thing. And bull stuff was going on that time too. And I had to quit that. It was ridiculous. It was like God was telling me, this is not where you're headed. So he had to really allow me to see the picture. And I saw the writing on the wall, and I was just like, all right, well, I got to figure something out. And then it was just by the grace of God that my friend bet me, and I was still competitive. You know what I'm saying? Like, my competitiveness never died, because once my friend said I wasn't fast, I was like, I'm going to show you how fast I am.
Well, when did that bet happen? In senior year?
Yeah, senior year. It was February. I remember like it was yesterday. And the NFL season concluded, and I'm skipping class like usual. And we're at my friend's house was right across the street from the school. So I don't condone stay in school, kids.
Please. You're still kind of a baby in the track world, right? Because a lot of these kids start in junior high and come up through high school. And so you're at a little bit of an experience disadvantage, but obviously your athleticism is, taking you over the top. How do you find Paralympic sport?
So my coach from college at Harper College, she told me about the Paralympics way back. And I ignored her because I was like, I can go to the Olympics. And I thought the Paralympics was the Special Olympics. I wasn't educated on it at the time of being introduced to it. So I ignored the whole thing. Fast forward to 2016, for some reason, I said, I have a visual disability. I'm trying to get into the Paralympics as well. And I jumped this height. Do you know how can I get involved? She ends up saying, oh, wow, my boyfriend, Tyrita, is part of the Paralympics. His name is Roderick Townsend. Look him up. And this was at the time of coming into the year of Roderick Townsend phenomenon. He just broke the world record in the high jump. 2015, he was on a roll. 2016, you know what happened. So I'm like, all right, cool. It was too late for me in 2016. I'm sorry. Hello?
Yeah. Your sound is there. We lost your video. There you go.
Yeah. It was too late for me in 2016 to get classified. Yeah. So I had to wait for 2017 to get classified. And then that's how I got involved. Roderick Townsend introduced me to Markeith Price, who just called me, which is ironic. And he pretty much held my hand through the process of how the Paralympics work and how to get involved as a visually impaired person.
Well, that's a great story. And it just shows like it does oftentimes take like that seed needs to be planted and it doesn't always sprout right away.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes sort of multiple attempts to get someone to start thinking about the Paralympic side. But I just want to share a quick story, which I thought I think it was one of the first times I really kind of met you. I think it was trials in 2017 at UCLA. And I remember they put your event at night and the sun had gone down and we all thought it was the funniest thing that they put the blind guy who can barely see when there's light. He's got to now high jump in the dark out at UCLA. And you took it in stride and you didn't let it sweat you at all. But I thought that was really sweet. Obviously you made the team. You went on to world championships to be a world champion that year.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was a fun time, man.
All right. So I mentioned some of your sport accomplishments in track at world championships, 17, 19, and then the Tokyo Games. Talk to me a little bit about the run up to Tokyo. How hard was that? What were your struggles? Where were you? I think you were in Chula, but you tell me where were you? What were your, kind of challenges with the postponement and then the lockdown? And I know there was just a lot of drama for all of us leading up to Tokyo. How was that for you?
Man, let's just say COVID has done its work on everything, man. It's crazy how COVID impacted us in such large magnitude. And it impacted me tremendously in that moment and leading up to Tokyo. Prior to Tokyo, a lot was going on. Training at the center was probably the most difficult thing because we had limited access to what we needed to pretty much, survive as an athlete, like recovery stuff. And I was going through Achilles issues, hamstring issues and whatnot. And so it was really tough in that aspect. So I had to kind of venture out to find different ways to, heal my body and whatnot. But nothing compares to the mental stress that was going on leading up to it. Just trying to prepare for it, trying to figure out if you can even have coaches there. Is there going to be spectators? Like you just didn't know. You didn't know if it was even going to go on, and especially competing at the Paralympics, knowing that the Olympics was before us, it wasn't guaranteed. Like if the Olympics went bad, we weren't going to have a Paralympic game. So
I think you're absolutely right. I stressed during the whole Olympic cycle. I was looking at the COVID numbers and I think you're right. If the Olympics, if they had some crazy outbreak, they weren't going to have the Paralympics. You're right. So we were at risk the whole way through.
The whole way through. Like it was just so many uncertainties. Yeah. And then just trying to stay focused, knowing that nothing's guaranteed and you're still working hard, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you didn't know what you were working for, you know what I'm saying? Or when it was going to come. So it was difficult those 2 years, you know what I'm saying? Or a year and a half. I don't even know how long it was. So that was just hard in itself. For me, specifically, I had to adapt to two totally different events. Like I'm familiar with the long jump, but traditionally I'm a high jumper. Like that's my love. I can high jump anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Blindfolded, no pun intended. Yeah. But now I have to pretty much transform into this long jumper and now sprinter. Also, I have to adapt to a whole new coach because I had to switch coaches in that process. So there was just like, all right, how am I going to make this work?
But Isaac, why did you, because at some point you have to make a decision, but you added long jump and 100. Why'd you do that? What was the rationale there?
Oh, well, I wanted a challenge. You know what I'm saying? I knew that the high jump was out for my particular classification. And I was just like, you know what? Let me challenge myself. I can easily just high jump and try to make my way onto the Olympic team and just focus on high jump. But I saw it as an opportunity to highlight my talent. And I wanted to be faster than Jason Smith. Like, I remember in 2018, I made this video about Jason Smith. I was like, everybody talking about Jason Smith, but they haven't met IJP yet. I'm about to be the fastest visually impaired person. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I got a good coach, Tony Campbell.
Yep.
Perfect coach for me. And we took on the challenge and we did the best we can. We took home a 4th place finish my first year sprinting and was able to come out with a bronze medal in the long jump. So
just to help everyone understand, so the way the Paralympics work, especially for sports like track and swimming, but track is worse because they have a lot more classifications. Just every 4 years, they reevaluate which events different athletes with different disabilities are eligible to do. And so, Isaac, what you're saying, I think, is the high jump wasn't an event that was offered at the Paralympics for your classification, which meant you then had to sort of shift to be a long jumper and a sprinter. Did I break that down right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Yeah. And in another example, like in my son Ezra's classification, there's only 4 events offered at the Paralympic Games. And so you have to make these decisions in your career, and it's changing, right? Which it makes it a little trickier, as it's not guaranteed that those same events are going to be the same in Paris and LA, right? So you kind of you got to be nimble, I guess, right? You got to be adaptable. Okay. Give me the, so I think you made the right decision, by the way. I know you want to make the Olympic team in high jump, which is an amazing goal, but I think you made the right decision for certainly this run.
Yes,
what
sir.
was the feeling in your heart as you won that bronze?
Man, can I actually break down that whole event of the long jump and what happened? Man, it was nuts. Let me tell you what happened. So prior to the long jump, a lot of stuff was going on, just organizationally. So I was put in a place where I just didn't know what was going to happen when I was going to step on this runway. In fact, as soon as I took off my warm-ups, it felt like the Space Jam monsters, the Monstars, took my powers and my legs were noodles. And I'm like, oh shoot, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So my first jump, safety jump, and it was like a 6 meters jump. And I'm like, 6 meters? I'm not sure they got that correct. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh man, I'm jumping 6 meters. This can't be true. So for those, to give things in perspective, 6 meters is like a 20-foot jump. Normally I jump 24 to 25 feet, which is 750 to 760. You know what I'm saying? Meters wise, 7.5 meters, 7.6 meters. So to jump nearly a meter shorter, it was alarming to me. I didn't know what was going on. From there, my second jump, I jump off the wrong leg. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. My coach isn't there, so I have a coach that I'm not too familiar with, but we're making it work. So shout out to Coach Shannon Utley out there in Texas. She's a wonderful woman. She was like my saving grace while in Tokyo, as well as Clayton. So I'm in this competition, and I have no idea of where my mark is or why I'm running the way I'm running. And it comes down to we're in finals and I'm positioned in 4th place. So I'm like, oh, shoot, man, how am I in 4th place? I should be winning this thing right now. I came in the longest jumper, the furthest jump in the world. How am I in 4th place?
Okay, so you come in, you're ranked first in the world.
Yes, I'm ranked first.
Oh,
and I'm sitting in 4th, and we're down to the last 3 jumps. And I'm
okay. You make it after the first 3 jumps, the top 8 advance to the finals. Is the same? Is that how it was?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're in 4th place. You make the finals. You got 3 more jumps to see if you can get on that podium.
Yes, sir. So now my mind is racing. And I'm like, Isaac, you gotta relax. And what was the most frustrating part, in the midst of jumping bad, communication between the coaches and the athletes were by far the most difficultest thing. The officials wanted you to run, put your mask on, then go to your coach. They're telling your coach to keep her mask on. And like, you can't hear. It was just so much. I almost got kicked out because I kept forgetting to put my mask on. So now I'm trying to balance a poor jumping. I'm frustrated in that. The lady's trying to kick me out. I can't converse with my coach. I'm like, all right, Isaac, you got to relax. So that was my moment where I was like, I got to talk to God. Like, this is the only person, the only being that can help me relax. And I told God, I was like, this can't be true. You got to help me. Like, what do I need to do to get this right? Show me that you're real. So it comes down to my last jump. And right before my last jump, I asked the coach that was watching me, I was like, out of nowhere, I don't know why I asked her this. I asked her, where's my 10th step? Where is it landing? Because usually at my 10th step with my left, I should be on the board. And when she looked at the film, she said, you're way in front of the board, move back 2 feet. At that point, I looked at her, I'm like, you want me to move back 2 feet on my last jump? And I'm in 4th place? I don't know if I trust you, but for some reason, this trust said, the word trust just came up in my head, trust. And I was just like, you know what, Isaac, get out of your own way. Use this opportunity to finally trust someone. Prior to this moment, I was going through a lot of things in my professional career in regards to track, trying to navigate certain things and dealing with certain people. I lost a sense of trust in people. Some people would tell me, man, you look so good. And I wouldn't believe it because I didn't trust that. So when she said that, I just didn't trust that she was right. And God was like, trust, get out of your own way, allow someone else to help you. And so I moved back 2 feet. They say, Isaac John Paul, you're up. I'm up, I'm on that one way, and I take 3 breaths and I say, God, show me that you're real. And I was just like, I closed my eyes, I leaned back, and I took off down the runway. And on my 3rd step while I was running, I was like, oh, wow, I'm moving. Like, this is it. I wish I was back this far this whole time. So I'm running and I'm like, oh shit, I'm moving. And the board is fastly approaching and I jump. And I knew that I had a clean jump. I didn't know how far it was, but I jumped and I was just like, I stretched out and I landed and I got out the pit and I looked, I was like, fuck, I don't think that's it. They say the meters over the intercom, Isaac John Paul moves up to 3rd place by 2 centimeters. I looked at the coach and I couldn't help but laugh. You know what I'm saying? I just laughed. And I was so nervous, but at the same time, I didn't have nerves because the person that jumped after me was in 3rd or now in 4th place, and he had to match me or better me. And I was like, I'm not going to look, but I still look. And so he's running and I have my hands over my eyes. I'm like this, but I'm peeking and I still can't see, you know what I'm saying? And I saw, for some reason, my vision turned into 2020 and I saw his foot hit that foul board and I yelled and sprinted. I picked up one of the cameramen and shook him. I was like, oh my God, I took 3rd place. And it was by far the craziest like roller coaster of emotions, because what happens after that, I was excited, happy, and I was looking for this anger because I knew I jumped like trash. You know, I didn't jump like myself. But in the midst of that, I couldn't find that anger. All I could do was smile and laugh and embrace my competitors, because like a lot of things hit me in that moment. You know, coming out of a pandemic, or not out of a pandemic, all these competitors came from a different country and we came here to do something that we love to do despite the odds. You know what I'm saying? And we did it to our best ability. And that was a moment to share with each one of those people out there on that long jump. So I couldn't even get mad, even though I was going through my own personal drama.
Man, that is an incredible story. I got to ask a question. Did you talk to Shannon about that foot placement on the final jump? Did she just think you were going to bring a lot more energy and speed on that final approach?
Man, she said 2 feet back. I said, all right, boss.
No, I know. But afterwards, did you ask her about it? Have you talked to her about it?
I don't think we did. We just.
That's so fascinating. I mean,
yeah, it was crazy, man. It was a wild ride. Well, I missed out on a part. I was so frustrated throughout that competition. In the midst of that competition, I threw my goggles in the stands, like four rows out, up in like the nosebleeds, and somehow my goggles came back down to me out of nowhere. Like some guy was like, "Hey, this is your athlete's goggles," right before my last jump, and my coach gave me my goggles. I put them on, and it was just like, that must be a message in itself. Like,
so after your first or second jump, you threw them up into the stands?
After the first jump of finals, I threw my goggles into the stands.
You're crazy. Why would you do that, man?
Bro, it was so frustrating because I was jumping off the wrong foot and I just didn't know what was going on. Like, practices prior to my competition, I was on fire. And then for some reason, now I just don't know what's going on. And so I was so frustrated. I was just like, F these goggles. I'm done. Throw them in the stand.
Can they kick you out of an event for bad sportsmanship? Like, that seems risky.
I didn't care at that point. I was like, kick me out. I'd rather get kicked out. It gives me an excuse to say, oh, well, I got kicked out. I couldn't compete. You know what I'm saying? Disqualification looks better than 5th place, or 4th place. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Man. Oh, gosh.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of how you handled that. And I think you'll be a much tougher competitor going forward after that, because you had a little bit of everything mixed into that one.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Crazy.
And I trust that 4th place isn't going to sit well with you either. So I think you'll make some good moves on that one.
Hey, I'm breaking the world record this season, man. Trust and believe that world record is breaking.
Let's do that. I love that. Before I move into the final section, which I call my soul searching section, where do you see your career ending? Do you want to go through LA? Like, how much longer do you think you're going to compete?
I always told myself I want to hit that 20-year mark. Just like being part of something for 20 years. Not Paralympics, just saying sports.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So not 20 years, 10 years. 20 years would be, I'm terrible at math, as you can see. Yeah, 2028 is when I'm going to wrap it up.
Okay.
But I always was fascinated with that close to 20-year mark. I think that's like a good number to finish on. You know what I'm saying? So 2028, God willingly, you know what I'm saying? If my bones are still moving the right way and my joints are still loose, I'll still be jumping or running or whatever the case may be.
All right. You heard it here. We'll see you in LA. We'll see you in LA. All right. Soul searching. First is a fun question. Fun or interesting fact that I don't know about you.
Let's see. Fun. Let's see. What don't you know? I mean, I have a big mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty tall. I tell everybody everything. Interesting fact. Oh, well, you probably don't know this. This is my 3rd year as head track sprint coach at San Diego State Adaptive Sports.
That's cool.
I didn't know if you knew that. I knew you knew I was coaching, but I didn't know if you know how long I was coaching. So that's an interesting fact. So shout out Aztecs.
Let's go Aztecs.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. What over the years have you learned about self-acceptance?
Man, that's a great question. It takes time. You know what I'm saying? Accepting yourself takes a lot of time. You find throughout living, you find different things about yourself as you experience different things and how you handle your experiences. And for me, I like to think that, what was I about to say? I'm sorry. That's just the biggest thing. It's just being able to experience things one thing at a time and growing from those experiences is the biggest thing.
Yeah. I like that. What has your disability taught you?
To accept people for who they are. You know what I'm saying? Lex Gillette has a phrase there. I think it goes, no sight when you have a vision. I can't see facial expressions. I can't see body language. I can't see a lot of things that people pick up when they feel as if a person feels a type of way. So therefore, you know, I have to move a certain way. I have to move with integrity. I have to move with respect. I have to move with kindness, because I can't see what other people see. A lot of people use their vision as sometimes, and this is, you may not be aware, but when you have a good enough acuity of vision, you kind of take it for granted.
Yeah,
you pick up on things. You probably use your vision to manipulate certain situations. Like, take it, for example, if I'm aware that you're disturbed or if you're bothered, I can switch my energies to probably convince you to be on my side and not feel the way that you feel.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
For me, I don't see it as I see it as a way that you just naturally go and be kind with people and you be nice with people and stuff like that. So it's like my vision taught me to accept people for who they are, be patient with people because people are patient with me. They accept my disability, accept me for who I am sometimes. But it's just like I have to pay that forward. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. What stresses you out?
Being misunderstood. A lot of times my passion could be misunderstood for a variety of things. You know, living in this society is so hard being yourself. And a lot of people want to move in a way where they want to be accepted by the what we see as normal or what's normalized. And we don't fully have the opportunity to acknowledge who we are. And when we do acknowledge who we are, we kind of get shunned or, you know, ridiculed for liking certain things. Like, for example, and you could probably attest to this too, stereotypes. If you're African-American or Black or something, and you listen to a certain style of music, you could be ridiculed by your peers. Be like, why you listen to country music? You don't listen to, you're supposed to listen to rap. You're supposed to do this. Like, why can't I like something without being supposed to like something? You know what I'm saying? So
for sure.
Yeah.
No, it makes perfect sense. What is the single accomplishment you're most proud of in your life so far?
Having a child, you know what I'm saying? Preparing for fatherhood. My girlfriend is a wonderful woman. She does a lot of great things. So I'm proud for her accepting my child, you know what I'm saying? Deeming me worthy to bear my children. So, you know, that's a proud accomplishment because, you know, parenting is important, you know, and you, being a young parent, you have to really, it's very important that you install certain values in your child to ensure that they have a chance in this world. And I think having that responsibility and that duty, you know, and now obligation, like, I'm proud of that and I accept that challenge.
Yeah. Yep. That's great. Final question on this section. Who is the most important mentor in your life?
Mentor. I said, not to sound cocky or conceited, but I would have to say myself. When I say this, I say this with all due respect, with every influential person that walked into my life. At the same time, I have to have some sense of responsibility that I sit there and I listen to them and I take their lessons and their teachings, and I apply them to my actual life. So when I mentor, I see it as like the onus is on you. Mm-hmm. And for you to be the example for the next generation is also important. Mm-hmm. So the energy that I bring to, working as the coach at San Diego State and seeing how, I can I tell a story about one of my athletes? Mm-hmm. And this is why I say I like myself as a mentor, because one of my athletes, when I first started working with her, she has cerebral palsy. Her name is Michelle Cross. Mm-hmm. And at the time, she used to be this small, quiet, like when I remember the first time she competed, we went to Long Beach and she gets in this really small pose. And at that point, I saw that she lacked confidence. I knew that she had some type of insecurity regarding her disability, as we all do. Try to be in a room where everybody else looked the same and you're the only one that looks different. Mm-hmm. And I saw that in her. And once I saw that, I made it an obligation that it's not about what we do on this track on the day of competition. The biggest thing that she's going to get out of me being in her life is confidence, mm-hmm. and instilling confidence in her in ways where she can apply it into her actual life, you know? And now to this day, this girl, she got all the confidence in the world. She walk on the track, you want to notice Michelle, you know what I'm saying? Like, and she doesn't have a world record. She doesn't have anything that you would think that would give you confidence, right? Mm-hmm. She knows that anytime she gets on the track, she's going to give it her all. And that's all that matters. And she now defines what it means to be elite. She defines what it means to have a gold medal. And that's all I can ask for.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's a great way to end it. All right. Before we wrap this up, I'm giving you the microphone. Any final words of wisdom, any shout outs, whatever. And then let us know where to follow you.
For sure. First and foremost, I want to shout out to all my respective schools that I've stepped foot in, from Warren Township High School all the way to San Diego State University. I've been so lucky and blessed to encounter such wonderful people. So if I was to give a shout out to everyone, we'll be here for months. So my heart goes out to everybody, and they know who they are. You know who you are. You know what I'm saying? But a little word of wisdom, just be you and accept who you are, how God put you on this earth. Know that everybody is God's child, and just really move with the right intentions, and always remember, guide for the next generation, run for the next generation, jump for the next generation, and always live for the next generation. You can follow me on both of my pages. I write books too. My Instagram is IAM _IJP1. I think that's my Instagram. I have so many Instagrams now. I
we'll
get
check
lost.
it. Yeah, we'll check it.
And then my other Instagram is the author Isaac Jean Paul. And that's where you can find all my books, everything actually.
Yeah, you're IJP _IAM1.
Yes, sir. That's my Instagram. IJP _IAM1.
Yep. Cool.
But I appreciate you so much for allowing me to share your platform and give me your time, man. I'm excited.